Good morning. Welcome to Granny Fit. It's a rainy day, like pouring down rainy day. And it reminded me of something that I'd forgotten from my childhood. When I was really little, like I think I was 8 or 9 years old, we lived in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, across from Central Park. And I had a neighbor, um, well, to me she was older, but she was probably younger than I am now. When I was 8, to me she was an old lady. Makes you feel old thinking about it. But anyways, this woman had a daughter who was getting married, and what was significant about this woman is my mother wasn't a collector of anything specific. She's a lot of crafts and hobbies, so she has fabric and yarn and stuff around the house. But this woman collected dolls, all kinds of dolls from all over the world. And I remember going into her house, and there was like glass cases and shelves of these dolls. Beautiful dolls. So now she has a little girl. I remember that. I'm doing my I talk here. So, anyways, what I'm bringing that up is her daughter was getting married, and I remember she was a single parent, which was rare back then. I don't know whether she was widowed or divorced or what, but you rarely saw single parents. And she had a big double bed, and I think they must have rented just the upstairs of the house. I can't remember because a lot of the houses in Central Park were duplex, as was ours. We rented our upstairs as well, and which was amazing because Mom had a whole slew of kids, and we all slept in piles of bunk beds and so forth, so we could rent her upstairs out. This woman with the dolls, her daughter was getting married, and I remember visiting there, with my mom, and she wanted to show me her dolls. And her and her daughter shared a big queen-size bed, which I'd never seen a bed so big in my life, in this bedroom full of dolls. And I remember thinking how strange it was that this grown-up girl slept with her mother. Um, we were never allowed in her parents' room, let alone sleep with them. And the day of the wedding, it poured buckets of rain. It was about this time of year, and it was really raining this morning. I had to drive my husband to work, and then I had to drive Francisco, our boarder, to the bus station because this is his last day here. He's heading to Mexico for a while to be with his grandparents and family, and then back to Montreal, then off on the ships. But anyways, back to the story. It was pouring rain, and I can remember the woman saying, she was all upset. She said, "Oh, I'm so upset. It's raining, it's pouring today, and my daughter's getting married. Everybody knows that if you get married on a rainy day, the marriage will never last." And I never forgot that. I thought, somehow the rain affects the marriage relationship? Is it like curse it or something? Or is God mad that they're getting married? Or it's really funny the things you remember. I hadn't thought of that ever again until today, I think. It's really interesting to think of when you're kids, what comes into your mind. So I want to do some stretches here. I'm back to do my old stuff for a while because I like to have variety in my workout. I think it's better for my body anyway, maybe not. Sassy, no. And no. There we go. So the princess and prince and princess are getting married tomorrow, and that's what made me think. All that's on the TV and all that's on the radio, well, not all, but a lot of what's on the TV and radio is about this wedding coming up. I can't believe all the fuss over it. It'll be amazing watching it. I can still barely remember. I was fairly young when Queen Elizabeth got married. I think she's around the same age as my mother. Maybe she's not. She's fairly close to the same age as my mother. But I remember seeing pictures or videos or something. Well, not videos back then. Pictures of her wedding. And then later on, maybe there was even a television projection I saw of her wedding. So I remember thinking how grand it was. When I was really, really small, around the same time my neighbor's daughter got married, the Queen came to Sault Ste. Marie. And I was like 4 or 5 years old. And I remember lining up along the street by the bridge, the International Bridge. And we lived in the steel plant area. It was like the really dirty part of the city, right across from the piles where they put all the stuff in the steel plant. It was like a steel plant dump yard across from our house, and then there was this beautiful river, St. Mary's River. So I don't know why they polluted it along the shore like that, but I guess because a lot of the stuff came in through ships. But I had to dress all up like Sunday clothes, gloves, a little hat and everything. Everybody dressed all up because the Queen was coming. And I don't know if she even saw us. We lined up along the street. I was beside my family. We all got given little souvenirs of her visit. But it was such an amazing day. I saw the car go by and I didn't know which one was the Queen and which one was all the bodyguards. I was born quite a while after the war, but even in my childhood, we still had sirens regularly. Like sirens would go off, and I'd say to my mom, why are all those sirens going off all the time? What's that noise? Right across from our house, there was a big pole, well, across enough a little bit, and there was these big, like loudspeaker things, and she said that we don't want to forget the war. We always want to be prepared. Well, I thought I'd like to forget. I think Dad would like to forget the war, and the sirens would go off. We would all stop and have a moment of silence, remember the war. But we'd always look up first. Everybody look up. I guess they were looking to see if there was jets going over to drop bombs or something. Apparently, I wasn't born then. I was born quite a bit after the war. But apparently, for a long time, in Sault Ste. Marie, they had these big balloons that were up in the sky. And the big balloons, my mom said, were there to block the city lights out. Because of the steel plant, we lived right across from it. Because of the steel plant, it was a target for bombing. Why did we move so close to it? I don't know. Maybe in the war they didn't live there. Well, actually, I think they didn't. Mom was in St. Catharines working in the munitions factories. And Dad was actually in the war. So it's typical old-fashioned April weather. We haven't had that in a few years. We've had a lot of springs in the last 3 or 4 years where it seems to go from winter right into summer heat. And I can remember actually thinking, you know, what happened to those April showers that bring me flowers? It's so dry. But not anymore, not this year anyway. I kind of wish I hadn't complained because it's been so wet and cold that I'm weeks behind in my rototill. I haven't rototilled the garden at all because it's not drying up. My husband's actually starting to have second thoughts when he was putting the garden in. I need to reposition slightly. Be patient with me. So how is your fitness plan going? I'm asking you that because everybody I'm talking to is doing something to get fit. One of my friends is on Atkins diet. Atkins. I tried that about 10 years ago, and it was the only diet I actually lost weight on. But as soon as I went off of it, I gained back more than I lost. But for about 2 months, I felt really good and looked really good. And the reason I stopped doing that diet is because I've had a history of kidney and bladder problems where I get stones. And they said it's not good for people who have any history of kidney or bladder problems to be on the Atkins diet. Now I know they've revised it, so maybe it's better. I don't know. And now you don't necessarily have to have all the meat they suggest. They suggest a lot of eggs, bacon, and meat. And you could do other protein sources, which would be much healthier than all that meat or less acid in your system. My daughter Shauna sent me forward from Dr. Oz yesterday. And Dr. Oz has put out some kind of a new diet guides. And he talked about the value of fruit. We all know the value of fruit. But in his little article from his show, he made the comment that it's really, really important that we eat our fruit alone. Don't eat it with a meal of proteins or carbs, because apparently as soon as the fruit is exposed to other substances like carbs and proteins, it becomes acid in your system. And it's that acid in the system that creates all the problems for our body, our joints especially, arthritis and such things. In the machine there, so turn this way. Oops. This one is important to keep your balance and not fall forward or up, and gotta keep your feet off the floor and do these kicks and crosses while you balance on your tush. I really feel it in my tummy, so that's good, I guess. But I also feel it in my back, so I need to stretch out. So on this diet, he suggested that we eat a variety of fruit. It's not just the citrus fruit that alkalines your system if you eat it alone. It's any fruit apparently. And it says don't heat the fruit. So don't cook your fruit, and don't take the fruit juice and heat it up. And he also mentioned the importance of having hot beverages with your meal, not cold beverages with your meals, because the cold beverages coagulate the fats that are food you ate, and then it sticks in your body. No, go away. I'm doing my exercise. You exercise too, do you? Come on. Come here. Come here. So it's really important to try and document all this stuff and keep it handy so we can remember what we're supposed to eat and how we're supposed to eat it. Okay, you ready? 1, 2. She likes exercising. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Is that enough? Is that enough? Okay. Go away and let me finish. Go away. Let me finish. Go away. Let me finish. I'm trying to stretch this hip out. So I'm wondering if I can get my hip to be more flexible. I'll get my legs up straighter and higher. So I've got my knee, my foot on my knee, and I'm pushing down on the other knee. And I can feel it in my hip. And this is my stiff one. I've had a lot of injury in this knee, and it's so stiff now that I can't sit on the floor with my legs under me because of the pain that shoots through this knee. So I need to work on this knee, on my right side, get it more mobile with this hip. Because when I do this position right here, I'm fine. But as I come down and I go to sit on this knee, I can't do it anymore. This foot, this knee starts to